Hey everybody. Ask me anything. What is it? Thursday, December 21st, 2023. Hey, making it happen no matter what. So this Ask Me Anything is not in the home office for me. Out on the road, sitting in my truck. So one of our boys is at a couple-hour basketball camp at an undisclosed location in Tacoma, Washington. So he's attending that camp, and as he attends that couple-hour camp, I've got my laptop, and I'm just sitting in my truck doing work, drinking coffee. That's basically it. And now I've got my phone on a little tripod sitting on my dashboard, so it's probably only a matter of time before the police are called or somebody comes over to see what is this weird guy doing sitting by himself in his truck talking to his camera at a youth basketball meeting. So we'll see if that happens. Let's see. Hello from Ukraine. Hello, Ukraine. All right, so I've got all the questions. Today's been a bit of a rush, so this is going to be an off-the-cuff, minimal prep sort of a day, unfiltered. And we'll just get through it as quick as we can here. But there's a lot of questions, so if I keep a good pace, let's see how it goes, how it does. Okay. So, first one is from, and these are all from the Linchpin private Facebook group or the Linchpin squad on the BTWB app. That's where all the questions come from. Andrew C. Rowing strategy question. Is there a strategy to specific damper settings for workouts, sprint style versus more endurance, long duration? Once you find your optimal damper setting, what about the drag factor and all that stuff? There's like 7 rabbit holes there, each of which is probably like a 5 to 7 minute answer with some demonstration. So the best thing that you can do for those questions, basically any questions rowing, go to one of these 2 resources. Go to the Concept 2 website, and they've got tons of resources there as well. And then also, I believe the name is Dark Horse Rowing. They're fantastic also on Instagram, YouTube, website, the whole 9 yards. And between those 2 resources, get yourself set up with your optimal drag factor, figure out what that is, talks about the damper and all that stuff, how to set your feet in the right position, rowing technique, and you'll be good to go. So Concept 2 and Dark Horse Rowing, and those will get you set up. But yes, truth is, even after people get those things set up, I don't know, if somebody had to pull 15 or 20 calories as fast as they could, most people will mess with their damper setting a little bit, and some people do like it a bit on a higher damper setting, which most coaches would probably say isn't the right thing to do, and it's inefficient and all that, but there's still a lot of people that do it if we're having a truthful conversation. Okay, KCP, what are the Sherwood Christmas/holiday traditions? We don't have a ton of traditions, to be honest with you, just getting together with family, hanging out, me doing my best not to be a workaholic and actually be present in the moment. I would say if there is anything, every year my wife drags our kids to get the classic cheesy photo with Santa at the mall, whether they want to or not, and far longer into their life than they want. And so it's actually pretty cool because we have a photo every year framed and set up, but you can see the kids year after year getting older and older, and the look of disdain on their face growing. So that's probably the one tradition that we have that's actually really cool and really fun, other than getting together with family and overeating. Oh, follow-up question. Favorite Christmas treat? I don't know, all the food's good. I will say some members of Emily's family make these I'm a fan of any kind of bread. If any kind of bread shows up, from pumpkin bread, cranberry bread, banana bread, those sort of breads, you've got my undivided attention. But one of Emily's sisters usually brings these little pretzels that are dipped in a white chocolate, and then after she dips them in white chocolate, she'll kind of just dip them in some little Christmas sprinkles. So you get this little white chocolate on the pretzel, and you get a little crunch. They're fantastic, and I eat a ridiculous amount of them every single year, and I look forward to eating too many of them this year. Okay, let's see. Arena F. You talked about using the Echo Bike rower and run for workouts. and the formulas to convert each. But can I use a regular spin bike? Let's say the workout calls for 1,000 meters rowing. What would be an alternative on a spin bike? Short answer, I have absolutely no idea. And that's just because there's probably 25 different styles of spin bikes out there. So I've got no idea what the calculation would be for a 1,000 meter row or 1,000 meter effort, or it is a row. But what I would probably do, if you find a CrossFitting friend who knows, fantastic. But what I would probably do in those situations, fill in the blank for any sort of unknown, odd bike, rower, or whatever that you find. Figure out if you were using the traditional piece of gear, a rower, a Rogue Echo bike, assault bike, you're going to go out for a 400-meter run. How long would that effort generally take? And is it a sprint day or is it a mixed modality day? If it's a mixed modality day, then the row, the bike, or the run is probably a moderate effort. So at a moderate effort, how long is that? Let's say it's 2 minutes. Well, then hop on your spin bike and at a moderate effort, go for 2 minutes. Is it a sprint day where we're doing 200-meter repeats running or something like that, and taking people, 35 to 40 seconds, and it's a high intensity day? Well, then hop on that bike and for 35 to 40 seconds, pedal like the devil is chasing you. So I would more go after the duration of the effort if you can't get an exact answer for that particular bike. Okay, Evan B. I'm 2 months into Linchpin. I've been making huge progress each week. Awesome. One thing I continue to struggle with is doing any type of bar movements that require me hanging from the bar. Whenever pull-ups are prescribed, I always do them, and although I do them banded, I make sure to do them to the point of failure. What else can I do to expedite my bar hanging strength so it can help me on knees to elbow, toes to bar, things like that? So, a lot of stuff that we do is grip intensive. You're holding a barbell, you're holding a kettlebell, whatever it happens to be. So the grip will develop, but if you want to expedite that a little bit, we'll put some grip work in the accessory work every now and then. Work your bar hangs, just hang from a bar, try to accumulate 2 minutes. Doesn't need to be unbroken, but accumulate 2 minutes. You can do farmer's carries on your own. Lighter weight, longer distance, heavier weight, shorter distance. And you can do like plate pinches and things like that, where you'll just pick up a 25-pound plate or a 45-pound plate with a pinch grip and just pinch that sucker until they fall out of your hands and your forearms are just quivering. So that would be a good thing to try as well. Let's see. Sean W. We saw you have a bike erg in your garage. That's true. Do you ever use it as a sub for any Linchpin workouts, or would you ever one day prescribe it in the workout itself? Truth be told, I very rarely use it. Very rarely. I'll probably use it on like an active recovery day or something like that if that's what I like to do. But I usually go to the Echo bike. That's the God's honest truth right there. And there's a sub for it on any particular workout that has a bike option. It'll give you a way to do it there. Will I generally prescribe that as the number one thing? Probably not. Just because, as I've said before, most of the stuff that we do as a strength and conditioning minimalist program is educate the populace, so if you've got a piece of gear, you can use it and feel authorized to do it. But then to program what works is the primary focus. Period, end of story. What works. But then on top of that, what do most people actually have, and then use it, and then base the programming around that, and then give the people that have the other things the options and the freedom to go ahead and slip those in whenever they want to. Let's see. Blair B. Any good snatch technique programs to follow? That is the movement that is the most difficult for me. The power snatch continues to be significantly heavier than my squat snatch. Blair, I think you're in good company. I think most people would say that. I believe truly that the squat snatch, the full snatch, the snatch, if you will, it's like the most technically complicated thing you can do on planet Earth with a barbell. So it makes sense that it's difficult. And the key to something like that is just practice. Not loading, not whatever it is, practice. So, we try to put something like the Bergner warm-up in a couple times a week, even if we're not snatching that day, because A, it's a fantastic head-to-toe warm-up, but then B, you actually get to practice such a difficult movement and keep it fresh in your central nervous system. On top of that, Varied.Random, go to varied.random.com, and there's a program in there for the squat snatch as well. And I would assume that like Mike Bergner has one. Chad Vaughn is a fantastic Olympic lifter and coach himself. I bet he's got one as well. So there are certainly ones out there that you can try and add in there. Okay, let's see. From Kate M. I've been wondering, but I always miss these posts. Well, you nailed it today. I remember this last time of year, you were talking about reducing your number of treats in a month. I believe you were attempting to have a treat once a month or so. How did that end up going for you? Aha, I remember what you're talking about. So I basically said, I think my theory was just something to experiment with and try. Like, look, I've got 5 members of my family. So right there's 5 birthdays that are going to happen over the course of the year. We're going to dive into some cake and ice cream, 5 out of the 12 months. But then we got, living out near us, Emily's 2 parents. She's got 2 sisters. Well, one of them's married. They've got some kids. So there's something happening every single solitary month, and that doesn't include holidays, like a reason to just dive into some delicious treat. That's just birthdays, and let alone if you work in an office and like a coworker every other day has a birthday. So even if you didn't have like a planned weekly cheat meal, and you just said, I'm going to do it on holidays, or when there's some gathering happening with my friends and family, I bet it would still, pardon me, you would still have some delicious, tasty treats with incredible regularity. And so that is what I wanted to try to do, is see how that went instead of the one dedicated cheat meal each week. And Kate, I will tell you, I failed epically, and I don't think I lasted even 2 weeks. I went right back to having a tasty treat during my cheat night or whatever it was, once a week. And then on top of that, still eating treats whenever they popped up at any family function or holiday. That's the honest truth. I'm not going to lie to you. That's what happened. They're delicious, right? Treats are delicious. Okay. Aha! Eddie A. Random question. Every time you're on camera, you have a Rogue shirt on. How many Rogue shirts do you have, and which one's your favorite? Eddie, look at this. This is not, doesn't say Rogue. It's not a Rogue hoodie. It's not a Linchpin hoodie. It's nothing. It's, what's under this? I actually have just a blue shirt on today. But you're right. And my wife gets on me about that a lot, that I just, I'll just get lazy and reach into the closet, of which I have a staggering amount of Rogue t-shirts, and just grab one. And it's just from working with them over the course of the year. I'm getting things sent to me, go and work in the Invitational. I get a ton there every single solitary year. So I've got far more than any human being needs. That's just the truth. Which one's my favorite? Probably I've got 2. I like just the Rogue. Well, there's a few. They make some good stuff. I like just the Rogue OD green t-shirt that in black font has Rogue on it. I like that. There's a maroon one that I like, but I really do like the one that I just got most recently at the Invitational this year in 2023, which is I don't even know what color you would call it, like a burnt orange, I guess, color, and it just has like the horns on it, and it says Rogue. That's a really cool one. I like that one a lot. All right. Bernie J. What's the go with the accessories? And I saw this question, Bernie, you posted also in just the Linchpin squads, and actually screenshotted it to chat today in case you didn't post it in the AMA. So basically what Bernie was asking is the general deals with accessory work, because we'll post maybe option A, B, or C. What does that mean? How should you attack it? What should you prioritize? So first of all, it bears repeating that I say all the time. The accessory work is optional, truly optional, and I'm not just saying that. You don't have to do a single piece of accessory work for your entire time on the planet, and you'll be wonderfully fit. Do you know why that is? And I can't speak for anybody else's country, but I'll speak for my country here in the United States of America. Most people are just sitting on their butt not doing anything, stuffing their face with those delicious chocolate-covered pretzels that I mentioned earlier in the program. And so the fact that you have chosen a different path, doesn't matter if it's scaled, doesn't matter if it's modified, Doesn't matter if you're not burning it down with intensity. The fact that you have chosen a life that you have some sort of awareness of what you're feeding yourself, and you have things in your life which are deadlifts and squats, and you go out and run, and you're working on your pull-ups and all that stuff, and maybe it's happening slower or faster than you want, whatever it is, you're a beast compared to the average American. Like Conan the Barbarian, Delta Force, SEAL Team 6. I mean, you are an Olympian. And that's not an exaggeration. America's a very sick, out-of-shape country. It's the mere fact that you're doing functional movements and doing some strength training and working on your conditioning. You are in this like small little segment of society, so you're good. You don't have to do accessory work to be fit and be amazing. But it's optional, and if you want to choose it, go ahead and choose it. It can be a great way to break through a plateau, to maybe speed up something that you've been trying to focus on, an area you've identified as a deficiency. And on any of those days that there's like an option A, B, or C, for example, here's how I would say that. You know, there could be, like, let's say there's 2 optional accessory pieces on that particular day. Okay, and let's just say one's midline and the other one is shoulder strength or pressing overhead. And that shoulder strength or pressing overhead might have 3 different options. Okay, maybe option A is strict shoulder press, certain number of sets, certain number of reps. Option B is a Turkish get-up, and option C is alternating dumbbell press or something like that, or an Arnold press or something like that. On those days, what I would do if I were you, if you were looking at the optional accessory work and you wanted to do it, look at those 3 options, and then first of all, if one of them you can't do for whatever reason, lack of mobility, lack of gear, whatever, that's obviously off the list. But if you looked at all 3 and you had the capability to perform any one you wanted, you can do them all, you get the gear, it's safe, you're mobile, the whole 9 yards, then I would recommend being honest with yourself and select the one that is most outside your comfort zone, because in that variance, in that getting outside your comfort zone, that's most likely where the most benefit will come from, since you're exposing yourself to something outside your little niche that you really like to do. And if you always do barbell work, right? Might be great to do the dumbbells on that particular day, the Arnold press or something like that. If you're always doing that and you're like, ooh, like kind of a heavy, challenging Turkish get-up, that's going to put me outside my comfort zone, then that would be the one that I recommend. So when there's various options, that would be the decision making. And you're not supposed to do all 3 options. Let me make that clear. You're just going to pick one of those overhead options. But I would pick the one that you can do, but it's the most outside your comfort zone. Okay. Cameron, okay, I saw this question as well. Cameron S. Your question, okay, it says, I posted my question, but not in the comments. I remember seeing it in the Linchpin squads. Give me a second. So many things going through my head. Yes. Okay, it was about you work out in a particular location where the ceiling height does not allow you to do wall balls. And if wall balls are coming up, like you saw some were, what would be a recommendation for something like that? Okay, so you've got a couple things that you can do. First of all, depending upon the height of the ceiling and how amazing you are or aren't at wall balls, let's say you can throw them to a 9-foot target instead of a 10-foot target. There's a really good chance that you could just use that 9-foot target for the rest of your life. That's what your wall balls look like. You're totally fine. Make it a little comment in the notes section that it was done to a 9-foot target, and you'll be wonderfully fit. If that's not something you want to do, then on a day that has wall balls, on the limited equipment option, all we assume for the limited equipment option is they have a pull-up bar, a set of rings, a jump rope, dumbbells, and planet Earth. And so they don't have a wall ball. So there's going to be something for them that day that doesn't involve a wall ball. So we'll have figured out, for dumbbells, for example, if they're going to do thrusters or something else, how many reps, how many sets, what the loading is going to be. So what you could do if you wanted to was just remove the wall ball portion of the workout right there, look at what was the replacement for the limited equipment crew, and modify that and make a workout that works for you just like that. You'll be totally good to go. Okay. Let's see here. From Mike L. Coach, I've been fortunate enough to purchase a ski erg, an echo bike, a bike erg, a rower over the years, so I can do most of the workouts as written. I noticed the ski erg is not programmed. Okay, sorry, we had a poor connection. Pause due to poor connection here in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for nothing, Tacoma. And now we should be back, so hopefully we're back. So I'll reread that question in case we missed it. This is from Mike L. Mike's got all the kit. He's got ski erg, echo bike, bike erg, a rower. You can do all the workouts as written. Ski erg is not regularly programmed at all. It's one of the options that we provide, but it's not usually programmed in the main workout. And which I fully understand, as it seems to be more of an uncommon piece of equipment. True. And I know I can substitute the ski erg for monostructural using the conversions given. True again. However, most of them, bike, row, run, are leg driven, and the ski erg seems to be upper body driven. True again. That could be my naivete, which first of all, that could be my naivete in using that machine though. So first of all, yes, legs are definitely involved with the ski erg as well, but you're going to hit more in the upper body compared to those other machines. Absolutely no question about it. But the fact that you used naivete in your question is incredible. And not only did you use naivete, but it's with all like the little dots, like the 2 dots over the AI area and like the little over the E at the end. It's perfect. I appreciate that attention to detail. That's incredible. Okay. When trying to maintain the stimulus, would you recommend I use the ski erg? For example, with the recent Jackie, I kept the rower to keep the interference of the rower leg drive and the thrusters, and the rower arm pull with the pull-ups. I understand the world doesn't always work in all ways and nevers, but I'm hoping for something to guide me. So, first of all, this is absolutely why I love the Linchpin community. And I know that I'm biased. 2 things exist at the same time. I'm biased that the Linchpin community is the best community and the smartest community on the face of the earth. And also, they're the best community and the smartest community on the planet. Everything that Mike said in this thing was just strength and conditioning truth, followed by strength and conditioning truth, followed by strength and conditioning truth. It's fantastic. So you're right. We just had Jackie. And on the rower, you've got the leg drive from the rower is going to make the thrusters worse. Absolutely. And the arm pull and the pull-ups, yes, although not to a huge degree, all things considered. You know, like if you're rowing really well, yes, the upper body and the arms are involved, but the majority, the lion's share of the work is coming from the leg drive, you know, and you got a good pull there, but it's more of a follow through at the end. That it's certainly going to have some sort of interplay with the pull-ups, but not to like a huge sort of a deal, I should say, as well. And then after you get off that, you're going to hit the thrusters for a set of 50. And so that's going to fatigue you as well. It's not like you're going right from the rower to the pull-ups. So now let's say that on Jackie, you decided to use the conversion, which we provide every day, and you didn't do the rower, you did the ski erg on that particular day. Fitness will still be achieved. You'll still be good to go. It's just going to have a little bit more interference and a little bit of a different part. In the grand scheme of things, small potatoes, truly, right? So you're going to have from the ski erg a little bit less fatigue in the legs, because the ski erg is less demanding on the legs than rowing is, and you're getting right off that going into the thruster. So in a little way, it's going to be nicer on the legs going into the thruster, although who's kidding who? Your legs are still going to be tired, you're still going to be out of breath, and it's still going to be astonishing how heavy an empty barbell feels for 50 reps. So you're not getting shortchanged right there, but it is going to hit the upper body a little bit more, and so that you might feel that when you get to the pull-up bar, but that's a nice trade-off because you didn't quite hit the legs as much. So you're still going to have plenty of interference, just in a little bit of a different movement. You're going to be totally good to go, and you're right, it's going to be a bit more upper body driven compared to the legs, but you're solid. And I would throw it in there, and you're just going to get it. You're going to get it in a little bit of a different part of the workout. But fitness is going to be achieved, and in the grand scheme of things, when we're talking about the huge foundational building blocks and then smaller things and smaller things and smaller things, that would be one of the smaller things. That wouldn't be like this huge building block thing that like you didn't get in a great workout that day because you chose the ski erg. Okay, let's see. Marcus R. What track, RX, scaled, limited equipment, etc., is the most popular? And how many are actually doing the less popular? To me, it's just annoying. It's just annoying that there are so many tracks to have to swipe through so much. Is there a way for me to hide the irrelevant tracks? I just do the prescribed and the wild card. There's so many people in Linchpin that all the tracks are used every single solitary day by a ton of people, to include the no equipment option either, which when I first started putting that in, I thought that would hardly ever be used. Like, happen to have somebody on the road. People do the no equipment option all the time, so they're all used a tremendous amount, but I would say the wild card is quite popular. That's very true. The wild card is very popular. But what you can do, so, all right, Marcus, so you got you open up your BTWB app, right? And you've got the warm-up, you get 5 different workout options, you get accessory work and cool down. So you're right, if you're scrolling, there can be a lot on the screen there. But what you can do, very simply, open it up, and let's say you just want the prescribed workout, right? And right below it's wild card. If you, like, there's a little arrow right next to it. If you just tap that, the wild card, it will collapse. And it won't be taking up much room in your screen at all. And then it'll pull up the thing below it, which will be scaled. If you tap the little arrow next to scaled, it'll collapse. Pardon me. And so with a very simple just touch right next to any option, tap, 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 you can collapse those 5 options in 5 seconds and have a nice tidy little screen right there. So I think that should be helpful for you. Okay. Final question from Justin D. I've seen that wall-facing handstand push-ups seemingly becoming more popular. Other than looking more awkward to get into it quickly, is there a benefit of doing these over normal handstand push-ups? So it's interesting. You know, some things just became popular not because they were a thing in sport, or not because they were a thing in strength and conditioning. For whatever reason, CrossFit just started doing it a certain way, and then everyone said this is the way you do those things, where maybe that isn't actually the case. So for example, you know, handstand push-ups existed long before CrossFit existed in the world of gymnastics. And I was actually chatting with my wife about this morning, who was a D1 gymnast, and in the world of gymnastics, there are no handstand push-ups with your back against the wall. Period, end of story. Handstand push-ups are done facing the wall, belly against the wall, always, and they're always strict from the beginning of time, and they probably always will be. So the facing the wall, kipping handstand push-up is not, historically speaking, how handstand push-ups have always been done. They're a divergence from that. And so now facing the wall is probably actually getting back to how they have been done for quite some time. The good thing about facing the wall is you're not going to be kipping, so it's going to be strict. That's a good thing. And it also, to a large degree, eliminates like a really a body position that you want to avoid, that like hyperextended sway back sort of a thing, where like somebody's butt's touching the wall but their body's way against the wall, like you're not in this nice straight body position. That's not doing anybody any favors. And so some of that stuff came around, you know, you put something into a competition, and then what people do is they read the rule book and they say, to what extent can I, you know, ride the line and modify this movement in some sort of way to like shorten the range of motion and make it easier for myself but still not violate the rules. And then it becomes this odd thing that's so far from what the original gymnastics movement was intended to do, which is build this beautiful body awareness, beautiful body position, and upper body strength in a strict form. And so, you know, and you can obviously do handstand push-ups with your back against the wall, not facing the wall, and keep your body in a good straight position, which is what I would encourage you to do. So that would be the primary thing there. I know there's a question that I missed. Hold on. I know that there is because I had it in my head. And did I? Aha, okay. Final question. We're going to end on one with some spice to it. From Corey C. Should anything be said or done if somebody posts a video of their workout on here and they are not performing the movements to standard, but logging it as if they are performing the workout as prescribed? Since you're asking my opinion, here's my opinion on that. Should anything be said or done? No. It should not, unless they ask. If somebody asks, hey, I'm going to post this video. Does anyone want to give me an eye or some feedback or critique on my technique or my range of motion or whatnot? The door is open, and I would encourage anybody who wants to walk through that door and do it politely, because that's how it's going to be best received. But if not, it's been my experience for doing this for a very, 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 very long time that it's probably not going to go how you think it's going to go. And now I know, oh my goodness, well, the score's logged and it says prescribed and now you messed up the leaderboard and all that. Truth, I get it. Trust me, I get that. And you might reconcile that if you saw this one video and you saw something that wasn't to standard and you intervened and the person took it well and there was no bad blood and no drama, and then, life went on great. That's one video. There are literally thousands of other people posting a workout result with no video at all. And just to be a realist, that one video that you corrected is a grain of sand on the beach of results, and it's not going to go. It's just not going to do it. So again, if they ask, great, super cool. I'm personally just not a fan of unsolicited advice. It's just kind of, personally. So that's it. And to each their own, right? Like, this is also very unsatisfying for people, because I know leaderboard's very important to a lot of people. But that's also why, again, you don't know what the other thousands of people, not just in Linchpin, but the thousands of Jackie results that have been posted on Beyond the Whiteboard for over a decade. Those are all compiled into how you did and your percentile, and it's kind of on the honor system, to be truthful. And that really is why, at the end of the day, even if this is an unsatisfying answer, it is you versus you. It's your Jackie today versus your Jackie 6 months versus your Jackie 6 months from now. It really is. And I get it. It is cool and it is fun to look at the worldwide leaderboard or the gym leaderboard or whatever and see it. I get it. And, it is what it is. Truth be told, with my terrible shoulders, every Fran that I've done in my entire life, who's kidding who? I know I punched the bar out in front. I know that I did, because I've got terrible old broken shoulders from the military and motorcycle wrecks, and getting the barbell beautifully over the center of my foot, it just didn't happen, quite frankly. So I guess you could say, like, every single one of those Fran results that I logged, maybe I shouldn't have put it prescribed, because I bet I was 4 inches out in front on every single solitary repetition. But every Fran that I did was consistently like that for me. That's my prescribed Fran. And so, if I had my results, I got my results, and it's me versus me. So, and you can also even find plenty of amazing games athletes that, if you analyze the video, could be a bit deeper right there. Nice to see the elbows come forward on the bar. Like, it is what it is. That's just my 2 cents. So that's that. All right. And ask me anything from my truck while my son's at a basketball camp. Hope that was beneficial. It's a Thursday. It's a rest day. I love my rest days. My goal is to move my body as little as possible. And other than that, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Let me see. Let me scroll real quick and just see if I missed any posts or whatnot. Oh my goodness, I see somebody say, with a joking face about that last question we had, just post a comment that says no rep. Oh man, I tell you what, that would burn my biscuits if that occurred. I don't think that, I know that you're joking because you put a little smiley laughing face next to it, but yeah, that wouldn't do anybody any favors there. Okay. All the waves and little thumbs up right back at you. Okay, I think we're good. Have a excellent day, everybody, and we'll talk later.